In today's video, I'm going to share with you why I love the Sony A7S II and why this camera is still a very good camera even in 2022. So without further ado, let's get started. The Sony A7S II is a mirrorless full-frame camera that shoots 4K at 30 frames per second. It shoots 1080p up to 130 frames per second, which is really nice for slow-mo. I've used this camera for a good number of times. As a matter of fact, I use it a lot, even though I have the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro. But because of the compactability and the uniqueness of the camera when it comes to recording video, it's actually a very good tool for me, because with this I don't need to do a lot of setup and I can actually shoot for a longer time without getting tired, like when you're shooting on a gimbal with the Blackmagic Pocket Cinema Camera 6K Pro. The two cameras have their strengths and weaknesses and all of that, but I'm not trying to compare this with the Blackmagic. What I'm saying is that this camera is still a valid camera even in 2022. So the camera image stabilization is fantastic. It's really a great one, because when you use it with handheld, you can still get a very useful footage, which is really nice thing. And I love it because it helps me to move really better. As a matter of fact, I prefer most times, if I'm doing a short project, I prefer to do it handheld and get that human, shakes and all of that, and still get some really smooth footage when I slow them down, which is really nice. Another thing I love about the camera is the low light performance. At higher ISO, the footage are still very much usable, which is really nice. So the low light performance is really a great one. The Sony A7S II is a full-frame video camera with 8-bit 420 color space, and that means that it will have some limitations compared to the cinema camera in the dynamic range areas. It has S-Log2, S-Log3, and other color profiles, which allows you to shoot in flat profile and grade in post. This is not to say that the camera cannot handle photography. I personally use it for video works only. And I think it's all about preference, because I love my Nikon D800 performance and I already have a lot of Nikon lenses. So all I do is just to get an adapter and convert my Nikon lenses to fit my Sony A7S II camera. If you are considering buying the Sony A7S II for video production, I think you won't go wrong if that's what your budget can buy. It's a solid performance, a low light beast, and shoots 4K at 30 frames per second. But this will be at the expense of your battery life. It also shoots 1080p up to 120 frames per second, which is really a good enough slow-mo for most video production. Unlike the Sony A6000 or A6400 that I've used, the A7S II never had overheating issue, even though I have asked it to record without the 30 minutes restrictions, and I've used it for several occasions that I had to record average of 2 hours, and I never had overheating issue, which for me is really a great thing. I will recommend the Sony A7S II for anyone looking for a pro level and affordable video camera that delivers. One of the things that the Sony A7S II struggles with is the autofocus system. The autofocus system is actually one of the worst, in the line of the Sony A7S, family. And it's just not very perfect. It struggles to get autofocus most of the times. So what I do is that I tend to use Speed Booster to convert my Nikon, lenses like the Tamron 24-70 to my Sony. And so I tend to pull my focus manually most of the time. So really, it doesn't really mean a lot to me, but if you're considering to use it for a lot of autofocus jobs, it's just not going to get it done. I initially requested or ordered for the Sony A7R II, and after some days, I had to return it. The Sony A7R II is an excellent camera for photography, but I was actually buying this for videography, so I had to return it and I had to pick this, and that choice that I made was actually the best because this is a great performer for video production. So if you're looking at buying a full frame Sony camera, which I would say that Sony has one of the best, video cameras in the market. Whichever Sony you buy, I started with Sony A6000 and I was able to produce excellent jobs. Then I moved to Sony A6400 and now I'm at Sony A7S II. Sony A6400 appears to be more recent, but when it comes to functionalities and quality output, this camera is better. I know A6400 has more recent features that are really attractive, but as far as I'm concerned, I'm much more interested in ability to deliver, which is really important to me. So depending on what you are doing or the kind of content you create, you have to decide on that. The Sony A6400 has a flip screen and all of that. I don't need all of those ones in my line of work. But this produces better results even though it's older than the A6400. So if you're considering buying a full frame, an affordable Sony full frame camera in 2022, I think you should consider the Sony A7S II because it shoots at 4K, which is really nice, and it shoots up to 120 frames per second, which is good enough slow-mo, because sometimes you don't even need up to 120 frames per second. That's the truth. So if you are low on budget, I think you should consider having this. It's not that cheap, but you can get good deals online. So if you're more of a video person and you're looking for that very nice, capable video camera, then this is a good choice for you, even in 2022. Don't worry about the age. It gets the job done. And that's, for me, it's the most important thing. So consider having some vintage lenses. You can consider buying some Tamron lenses, which I have. Some, hold lenses and put it on it and enjoy yourself, which is really, really important. So if you have any question about, the camera or where you can get good deals in Africa, Nigeria to be specific, or UK, then I can actually signpost you to one or two places, and I'm sure you're going to get good deals. So I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you do, kindly subscribe to my YouTube channel. Thank you to all those who have subscribed. Thank you for the encouragement, the support. It's really, really kept me going, and I really appreciate that. Thank you, and see you some other time. Bye for now.